I just wanted to make a random video. Thought this was a good idea. Basically, I made a fake SCP world, and the reason I did that was because I just wanted SCP, but if there was like a direct canon, because I really love SCP. So I just did that, and now that's how UNAC was born, United Nations Anomaly Containment. It's kind of like a ripoff. I'd more say inspired, but maybe that's just an excuse. Um, Random announcement. It's just a random announcement. Like, I don't know why I made this. And also, the reason I made UNAC in the first place, reason I wanted it to have like a canon, is because originally, like, you think about SCP, right? Like, when you think about it with like your brain, like, you actually think deep into the concepts. Some of them just don't make sense. Like, let me cite some examples. Like, I could go on and on for hours, literally hours. I did go on and on for hours once. So, like, seriously. For one example, if they have giant electromagnets, because we could see that with 106, right? Why don't they just put a guy on like a really big electromagnetic, like, platform, or like in space or whatever, and then like you let him view 096, and then 096 can't jump like really high, apparently. Like, he can't reach the highest planes, and the only reason they don't use planes is because he could wait for them to come down, right? But like, if an electromagnet never like comes down, then can't they just like let him keep staring up or something? Even if it doesn't work, I mean, like, it's worth a shot. What do you lose from this? Some money? They don't care about money anyway. And also, why do they have an ethics committee? They literally sacrifice. Let me emphasize this. This is the point I wanted to emphasize the most. They sacrifice thousands of our own species to feed to murder monsters that are all bulletproof, and most of them could potentially end the world in the right conditions. Like, that just sounds so insane when you think about it. And like, we're like, oh, the SCP Foundation is like defending us. But if instead of killing them or, locking them away, no, we're like, I get they lock them away, but like, why keep them alive and spend so much human resources that, mind you, even without ethics, they could be using that on actual tests instead of just feeding stuff? And then like, why? Just so many questions. And like, it's so questionable sometimes with so many different things. Like, dude, I cannot stress enough how questionable some of their decisions are. Like, they're like the water one, the rain, like the one that turns the rain into like a deadly living organism. Yeah, that one. It's like, dude, that thing can cause an XK class, end of the world scenario. And of course, you put it in a city that's densely populated, that has a lot of rain. Like, why not just put it in a desert, right? And then lock it away forever? Why do they need to feed that? Like, do they gain anything by feeding this thing? Shouldn't they just let it die? Don't you want it to die? Like, I get saying like ethics or whatever, but it's literally water. Like, it's living water. Does the living water have feelings when they test that? Like, and why put it in a city with literally everyone and where it rains a lot instead of like a desert or Antarctica or something? Like, why? Like, just so many questions. And then like, not even to mention the fact that like most writers sometimes just completely ignore, like when they're making a murder monster, right? They just completely ignore the fact that SCP stands for Special Containment Procedure. The entire start of this, sometimes they just make it, actually most of the time, they just make it a concrete box, aka quote unquote standard, and then they put two guards or with like guns or something, so that when the guy breaks out, he can kill someone and it will look really scary. But like, is that special? We did this with like 1,000 SCPs at least, that they're just put in a box, and like, it's still called Special Containment Procedures. Is that special? Like, sure, like, some of them have gimmicks, but like, ultimately, it's still a concrete box, right? Also, another questionable thing, like, I could just keep going on and on, but the thing I have to say about 173, if you view him through a camera and it works, then why don't they do that during cleaning so that all three guys can be cleaning and then a guy can just be watching from the camera, like, or three guys for watching in the camera, so that the cleaners don't have to waste one guy to look at him. I mean, or two guys to look at him, and then only one guy does the job. And then besides, like, they could have three guys just looking at him safely, and then like it's faster, it's like safer for the scientists. And like, oh my gosh, why don't they just do that? And if it doesn't work, you might be saying like, oh, maybe it doesn't work, then how come none of us know how he moves? Does he just teleport? Because like, surely we'd see him teleporting if it doesn't work with the cameras, right? So like, I don't know, it's like a loophole. It's actually like a loophole. And to people saying that like, oh, you can't throw SCP-682 into the sun or to the space or whatever, because he's immortal. Like, I don't care if he can adapt. If acid can keep him from escaping, then the sun, that's constantly exploding with basically nuclear bombs every like minute, can probably hold him better. And besides, if he escapes, I don't care if you escape, bro. You're in space. Like, good luck. And at that point, you're like, what if he comes back? Well, if he comes back, they're just gonna recontain him anyway. I mean, like, what's the loss? He keeps escaping anyway. Like, who cares? And then, if you don't want to throw him into the sun because of, like, costs or whatever, even though the SCP Foundation literally has the money from God, they could just send SCP-682 and 096 into space. Like, and then, like, who cares if they wake up? Who cares if they adapt to, like, the no gravity or to the whatever, to, like, no breathing? They're still floating in space. There's no air, so they can't physically move. Like, I don't care if you're alive. If you're floating all the way into Kingdom Come, then you're gone. It doesn't matter who the hell you are. Like, you're gone. You're just gone. Wow, shocking. Imagine using common sense. I could go on and on, but, I think you get the point. And by the way, for clarification on everything, the 173 thing is like about how the cameras work on him or don't, and then that's like a loophole. And also, the SCP-682 thing is like about how, like, why don't they just throw him into space? Won't they try anything? Wouldn't they try that? Like, if they tried everything, why wouldn't they try that? I mean, they have infinite money anyway. So, like, just saying for clarification to any of those who did not understand the entire rant.